manifestation of depression as well. And of course, I know some of us will be quick to pop tablets, painkillers, quickly. And then we come to the last one, life. By the time you get to this stage, now this is not in chronological order. It can start, you can have any of this, but when it comes to L, which is life, loss of interest in living. What am I here for? There's nobody cares. This is useless. I think I would be better if I'm dead. And you have suicidal thoughts. And let me beg you, my friends here, when somebody has a courage to begin to drop hints of their suicidal thought, don't say to fiakwa. You are Christian. It will never happen. In Jesus' name, I rebuke the devil. Don't remain calm, and ask them direct questions. Are you having suicidal thoughts? People think that, oh, if you ask direct questions, then they will do it. No, when you ask questions directly, they feel that now somebody cares. You normalize talking about it. Most of the time, people who take their life drop hints. They drop the signs. You see it. You know, it's either now they are laying their bed, covering everything. They're asking you, would you take care of my children when I'm gone? You know, when I travel, but because this doesn't kick, we don't ask those questions. So I'm going to touch on some of this because of time. This is what, if you're observing somebody or yourself, these are some of the things you'll be looking out for. Suddenly you notice that the facial expression is sad. There's a sad facial expression. There is frequent crying or moping. I've talked about that. There's a downcast features. You know, your body, you're drooping. Even when you want to sit, you sink yourself in this chair, and it's like a heavy duty kind of work. You look of exhaustion and discouragement. Your shoulders, your head are all drooped. You know, you lose interest in even personal appearance. You used to fix yourself very nicely. Sabbath, you're looking great, even when you're going out to the grocery store. But now you're not fixing yourself anymore. Anything goes. Your shirt or whatever, those days you should spend time to iron them, make them look good. But who cares? You don't even give a cent about yourself anymore. How much more somebody else? And now you're going to church. You're buttoning your buttonhole down with the button at the top. Everything is mixed up. There's nothing more embarrassing that you get to church and someone say, Edda, please, I'm sorry, your flap. No, it's unzipped. It could kill you. But if you notice that you're forgetting and you're letting yourself go, you're not fixing yourself, maybe as a lady, you're not fixing your hair, your face, and all of that. Or as a man, you're beginning to let yourself go, and it is becoming a trend for 2 weeks or more, it is time to talk to somebody. We'll talk about lack of concentration. And even Sabbath morning, you stand in front of your wardrobe. Should I wear the blue dress or should I wear the red one? And that alone is you. By the time you finish, the people are taking their benediction. You notice you become pessimistic, very pessimistic. Let me also add that in addition to pessimism, there's also cynicism. You become very cynical. You go to church and there is the testimony, and people are saying, it's another one. You're just trying to make church look interesting. If just giving testimony and all that, saying it so that we'll be happy and stuff like that. Cynicism, pessimism, distrust, and then withdrawal. They use avoidance as a coping strategy. If you notice that everything you're withdrawing and using the coping strategy, then you know that there's a problem there. They become preoccupied with resentment with themselves and against others. They become very critical of themselves. They don't see anything good in themselves, talk less of seeing anything good in others. These are the severest stages. And then we come here, when you become a full-blown candidate of suicide. Worse than four, when you confide in somebody, and the person now becomes shocked. Any question? Comment?
I have a question. I don't know if this is now it's time for me to answer. I got a question during the week. Okay. So someone asked, could I have a mental health problem and not be aware of it? And my family also is not aware. My friends also, they are not aware, and they can't detect anything because I'm living a very successful and normal life. Is that possible?
If you have lived a very successful and normal life and there's nothing interfering, you may not have a problem. But if you do not know the signs and the symptoms very well, you may as well be having it, but not even know that this is what it is. I hope I've answered the question. So your life, there are people who have depression, but you may not know just by looking at them on the surface. Because they'll be struggling with depression, but when they come to the office, they will be the one laughing a lot. And all of that is a facade because they don't want you to penetrate. So sometimes getting to, and I've given you some of the signs there that you need to look, some of the signals you need to look out for. So when some people become, one of the symptoms of even the hints of suicide, that the person becomes overly excited, or suddenly, not overly excited, they begin to take risky behaviors, risky behaviors where they are supposed to drive 50 kilometers per hour, they're doing 90, 95. They don't care about jumping red light, they are happy, or they go drinking and others. So some of these things can be very hard to detect. But the individual, once you familiarize yourself, that's why I've taken the time to show you some of these, and these are not all, because these are only some of the symptoms of depression. But if you feel that there's something that's been unusual, and again, as I said the other day, don't wait until things get out of control before you start looking for help. Just as at the beginning of the year, you may go for a full body checkup. I encourage people to just have a checkup, maybe once every year or 2 years with the therapist. How am I doing? There are questions that will be asked that could help you think about things in certain ways. So let me jump onto anxiety. We may take more questions as we go along. So yes, there may be issues if you don't know that. For example, if you don't know that what you're going through is typhoid and not malaria, you might think, oh, it's not, whatever. So there are times that it's very important. Now, let's talk about anxiety. Anxiety is, when it comes to, it's quite a restless response, an anxious response to a perceived threat. And most of the times, the word I'm looking for now is this: when the perceived threat is bigger than your ability to cope with that stress, with that threat. Am I making sense? So, for example, when exam is coming, you become anxious because you are afraid that I may fail, and you don't focus on your ability. Oh, I've studied, I've covered everything. Because if you tell yourself, why should I be discouraged, or say, I've studied, I've covered everything, I think I'm very familiar with the syllabus, I'm going to pass this exam, your response to it will be different. So it is almost always a heightened threat of a heightened perception of a threat, and a lower level view of your ability to cope or resolve that. But that is a simplistic way to put it. In fact, another simplistic way to put it is a very high level of chronic worry. So the behavior you become very anxious, nervous, irritable. You become tense, agitated, and you might become so restless that you might have trouble sitting still. And this can affect your sleep and all of that. There are different types of anxiety anyway. We have generalized anxiety disorder, which is GAD. We have panic disorder, panic where your heart go boom, 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 and you feel you're having a heart attack or a stroke. Then we also have what we call selective mutism. Now that's very common among children. So there are instances where a child may be home, may be playing with mommy and daddy and the kids. The moment you take the child and drop the child in school, they can't talk. The teacher will do everything, but the child will not talk. It's a form of anxiety. Okay. We'll have OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. We talked about that some other time. But because of threat, the person keeps checking and checking and checking and checking. That becomes a behavior. They can wash their hands 1,000 times because they feel my hands are contaminated. Unfortunately, this pandemic has triggered a lot of OCDs. There are people who might think, hey, I've left the gas on, I've not turned it off. So they will go to their bedroom sleeping, they'll come down several times to check. Or they leave home, they think, I've not locked the door. I have not locked the door. They have not locked the door. They will get to work, they will drive back to the house. Now, some people, what they're doing is that now when they're leaving, they remind themselves to take a picture of the door to be sure that the door has been locked. There are people who think that when they are driving, even they go by around, their brain tells them, I have killed somebody, I've knocked somebody. They will go, turn around, come around, even ask, did you see the police around here? Did you see anybody? Was there an accident here? Because the brain tells them that they have done something. There are instances where new mothers have this, sometimes it may come as a thought, other times it may come as a visual, where a mother might have a visual image, an image where they are stabbing their own baby. The brain can play tricks on you and all of that. And so in order to prevent that, they adopt some very negative coping strategies that can affect them. Now that's a deeper level. I don't want to go into all of that tonight. So let's talk about some of the signs and symptoms of anxiety in general, okay? Feeling nervous, restless, or tense. Having a sense of impending danger, doom, or panic. Sometimes you're going about and you feel like, what if a car just ran into me? What is as Nigerians would put it, what if a car jams into me? Or you feel somebody stabs me, or something crazy happens. And so by that thought, your heart now misses a beat. Now, anxiety sometimes gets triggered because of the brain's response to stress. Because when it happens, when the brain senses stress or threat, the brain now releases chemicals like adrenaline or cortisol, okay, which triggers the fight, flight, or freeze reaction. But when this continues for a while, it now creates a problem. One of the biggest problems of COVID-19 was that whenever this stress level has to be normal, it's actually normal. The brain detects something, then your sympathetic nervous system now is triggered. That is why suddenly you can jump a wall, you can run, and you wonder, did I just do that? So the sympathetic nervous system is the accelerator of the brain. That's what kicks you into action. Now we have the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is the accelerator. The parasympathetic nervous system is the brakes that slows you down. That was a close one, okay? But when COVID struck, we got stuck in the accelerator system for a long time. And some of us were looking at the numbers. 500 people contaminated, 500, you see those numbers, and it only keeps stepping on the accelerator, and for months, we never, you see, it's like a cycle. It always had to come down to the parasympathetic. There has to be a closure. There has to be an opening for you, an outlet to let all that energy pass. But it stayed in our body, and then it poisons the body. So again, as I told you, your blood glucose can go up. You can, that's what shows goosebumps, you know, when you have goosebumps, or people, the eye dilating, or you notice your heartbeat goes up, or even blood pressure. So affect nearly everything. So you can imagine when it stays for a long time and the body stays in that survival mode, even when you eat something small, it stores the fat because you know that I need to store this to survive. So your even digestive system and all of that get affected. And then you have increasing heart rate, you have breathing rapidly. So this is supposed to be a normal response to stress situation, but now it has moved to become an anxiety because there hasn't been a better outlet to let that stress go away gently. So now this stays for long and it happens more frequently. And if this continues for more than 2 weeks or 2 weeks or more, talk to somebody. That's why mental health issues have gone up. Now we see sweating, trembling, shivering, shaking, feeling weak or tired. Others are trouble concentrating or thinking about anything else other than the present worry, the thing you're worried about. But you see, the funny thing is, worrying about the thing you are worried about and not learning to relax, maybe through deep breathing or what we call progressive muscle relaxation or mindfulness or other techniques to help you relax your brain, what happens is this. Extreme worry about your worry is like pouring more gasoline into fire. Oh God, we're all going to die. This is going to get worse. I can't get over this. All are putting more wood into the fire. So keep going. So you see that the pandemic dragged on. And worst of all, we had all our 666 and our 5G people worsening the whole thing as well. It's not making it easier. And now they took it to another level, that the vaccine is actually the chip. And you saw people who put coin that you see, there was one funny one, you see that the coin stick here. Do you see that the coin is sticking here? You see, when I put it here, the coin doesn't stay. I watched that and I was laughing. And one woman was demonstrating in one of the US, whatever, and you see, and then the thing fell off. No, the other day when I put it, it was sticking. You see, and they all added to this crazy stuff. And guess what? Whenever we're sharing those fake news with others, we're increasing their anxiety level and worsening their mental health. Having trouble sleeping, experiencing gastrointestinal, GI problems, bloating, indigestion, okay, acid reflux, heartburn, and all of that. If it's been going on for some time, 2 weeks or more, it could be as a result of anxiety. Having difficulty controlling worry. As I said, you're worrying about your worries, and when there's nothing to worry, you worry why there's nothing to worry about. In fact, I had a client who said, I've been doing so well this week. All the technique that you showed me, it is working, and I'm feeling so great. And that is my problem. No, and after she said, I'm feeling so great, and I saw the look on her face, and I said, okay, tell me, what is the worry here? He said, I'm worried because I've never experienced this type of going a whole week without any of this. I'm just worried. What if it comes again? And then she said, they say there is a calm before the storm. So for most of her life, she has not gone a week without this freedom of not having something to worry about. And that's okay. You remember all the techniques that we have learned. Now I want you to write this down. I told her, if this happens, what can you do? Okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. And if this doesn't work, I can do this, I can do that. And when I do this, this is what I'm going to do. Then that helped her because she felt so good that it was too good to be true. And then she felt that maybe it's going to hit again soon. Having the urge to avoid things that trigger anxiety. So let's look at this. I said this, not being able to enjoy the good things of life when anxiety is there, because sometimes you are anxious something bad is going to happen. So even when you have nothing to worry about and you need to enjoy your life, you're worried it's going to happen again. And lack of concentration, inability to make decisions. By the way, let me put it this way. Anxiety cannot tolerate uncertainty. So anxiety is looking too far into the future and being worried about the future. Depression comes when we are so focused on the past and what went wrong and what could have gone wrong. So we have something we say, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Anytime you hear people say, I should have done this, I could have done this, I would have done this, let the past go. I'm feeling physically tired. So some of the things are, being irritable and crabby. Little things trigger you. Things that you used to laugh about in the home. The children said something funny, and then you got upset. Parents, you need to watch out for this. Tension headache. Suddenly, you're having this constant headache for 2 weeks or more. Dry mouth. If you notice it has been going on for almost 2 weeks now, maybe in the middle of the night, your mouth is so dry that you have to drink some water to soften your mouth. You're noticing this for some time now, for the past 2 weeks. It's about time you look for something. So in front to your question again, the question they asked, some of these things people can gloss over. It's just headache. It's just dry mouth. I'm just having sleeplessness. But you need to talk to somebody. I've talked about suicidal thought. Physical aches or cramps could also be a sign. Unusual urges could also be one. Hyperactivity. You become restless. You can't sit still. You go to the room, you come down, you want to do this, you are restless. You're active, you become hyper. You've not taken a lot of sugar, but you notice that you become hyper. But that is actually sugar, because some of these brain chemicals are sugar anyways. Uncontrolled emotions. Either you become upset or you drop to become sad and you start crying. So you see why I told you that they are like twins, depression and anxiety. But depression is more the sad, gloomy mood. Anxiety is more the restless hyperactivity, but the emotions also trigger, they flicker up and down every now and then. I think the adults will start becoming interested. So, as loss of libido, loss of sexual desire for 2 weeks or more, irregular menstrual cycle. All of a sudden, for no reason, you're not on any medication. For the women, you're noticing that either it has become suddenly very irregular. Maybe instead of 3 or 4 or 5 days, which is regular for you, suddenly you're having it to more than the normal days or shorter than the normal days, so it just stopped somewhere. Or some months, nothing happened at all. This could be some of the signs. If you're noticing this, talk to your doctor. I've talked about the digestive problems already. And then dramatic change in body weight. It's either you're putting on weight or you're losing it. So these are some of the things, as I've talked about, that are very common and it's increased a lot during this pandemic. How do we respond to it? I know I'm from cue me when it is time. Is it time? I think it is. So I'll stop here today and take comment questions. I know. I wanted to share briefly with you, so if I could maybe take a minute or two just to run through it. So just know that we all go through these experiences. Jesus had his own approach of dealing with when he was emotionally distressed, psychologically distressed, the worst time of his life. Jesus had an approach to deal with this. So let me share this approach with you briefly, if you don't mind. Now, myself, a minute, right? Prophetic minute. And let me just use that briefly to share with you. If not, I will leave you hanging and you will not feel, that you have something to work with after here. Now, if you read the book of Mark, during the period of intense emotional struggle, Jesus did something. He reached out for reassurance from both God and man. So what this simply means is that when it comes to mental health, we need to adopt as Christians both the spiritual and psychosocial approach to dealing with mental health. It's not something you tell somebody, pray out of it. It doesn't work. And it's not something that you just say, you just ignore. As a Christian, being a Christian is an added value. There's a therapeutic value in our faith, in having religion and faith. Now look at what Jesus did. So Jesus used both. Number one, Jesus used nature. In fact, Jesus used about 3 different approaches. Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane, the night there. Why didn't Jesus go to the temple? Why did he go to the garden? A lot of research have shown that spending time in a green wooded area, trees emit what we call phytoncides. These are essential oils that contain chemicals that help to reduce anxiety, depression, aggression, even high blood pressure, blood glucose levels. The same studies have shown that those same things also help to reduce even some cancers. And maybe another time we'll talk about this more. So Jesus came to this place in the Garden of Gethsemane. He could have gone to the temple, but he went to the green wooded area. My friends, God has endowed us with all of this. And I'll show you something Ellen White said. So Jesus told his disciple, sit here while we what? I pray. So Jesus did that. So number one, Jesus made use of nature. This nature is fascinating. In 2018, October 5, this hospital in Scotland, Shetland, were authorized to prescribe nature to their patients. The program seeks to reduce blood pressure, anxiety, and increase happiness for those with diabetes, a mental illness, stress, even heart disease. You have no idea. God has blessed us. Thank goodness you are in a part of the world where greenery is all over. Put yourself out there in green wooded area. The evidence for the benefits of nature on mental health and physical health are numerous. If you spend 90 minutes of your day in a green wooded area, there will be a decrease of activity in the part of your brain typically associated with what? Depression. Don't just run through it. Relax, spend time, use all your 5 senses. Touch, hear, taste, watch, breathe, smell the trees, the flowers, Even in Germany, we have people called tree huggers. It's becoming a movement. People go into the woods, just lean against it, relax there. They are not on their mobile phone. They're just connecting with nature, because phytoncides is chemicals that the trees use to heal themselves, protect themselves against bacteria. But the research have found out that the same phytoncides, those chemicals are very, very powerful. Spending time in nature not only reduces blood pressure and increases happiness, but it reduces aggression, right? And attention deficit hyperactivity disorder symptoms, ADHD. It improves pain control, it improves the immune system, and there is still more for us to, the scientists are still figuring out. But Jesus showed us that in the worst times of our lives, we should go into the green wooded area. That's why he went to the Garden of Gethsemane. Japan, they call it Shirin-yoku, which means forest bathing. So you see, I want you to see the phytoncides almost like showers or dew, okay? So you go in there to bathe yourself in the forest. And it has been part of their national health program since 1982. That is way before the scientists discovered these benefits. There's more that I can share with you. Even just 30 minutes will improve your life. Forest bathe, spending 30 minutes in forest areas, environment promotes lower concentration of cortisol. You see, I talked about cortisol a while ago with adrenaline. It will lower it. It will lower your pulse rate. So your heartbeat that goes boom, boom, boom will come down. It will lower your blood pressure. It will give you greater parasympathetic nerve activity. Remember what I talked about? Parasympathetic nervous system there. That is the brakes. It will put the brakes on the way your brain is overrunning itself. It pulls the brakes. Oh, it increases the braking system. Sorry, it increases that. And then it lowers the accelerator, which is the sympathetic nervous system activity. So those who live in the villages or urban areas or have a lot of, trees are better off than those who live in the city where trees have been chopped down. There are many psychological benefits to this. Reduce depression, increase liveliness, happiness, and all of that. Listen to what Ellen White herself tells us. This is one of my favorites. Please take a screenshot of this one. This is one of my favorites. Nature is what? God's physician. Listen to what Ellen White has to say. Nature is God's physician. The pure air, the glad sunshine, the beautiful flowers and trees, the orchards and vineyards, and the outdoor exercise amid these surroundings are health-giving, the elixir of life. Outdoor life is the only medicine that many invalids, that many sick people need. Its influence is powerful to heal sickness caused by fashionable life, a life that weakens and destroys physical, and then what else? Mental, and even what? Spiritual powers. Wow. Nature. If you're not connecting with nature, if you're always indoors, from there you jump into your car, if you don't go and walk in the park and find some fresh air, you are missing greater things. Jesus showed that and revealed it to Ellen White even before science began to bring this out. I thank God for this church. This church is endowed with many beautiful things. So Jesus connected with nature, and then Jesus used psychosocial support. The Bible tells us in Mark, they said, and he took Peter, James, and John with him, and he began to be what? Troubled and deeply distressed. You need some people in your life. That is what? Social support. That's why I said, invest in relationship with God, relationship with family, relationship with friends to avert loneliness. And in tough times, these are the people who come to your aid. Psychosocial support. I've told you, loneliness is as lethal as smoking 15 sticks of cigarettes per day. In fact, lonely people are 50% more likely to die prematurely than those with healthy social connections. That's what the science says. And loneliness contributes to 14% of early death. The next thing Jesus did was to acknowledge. So remember, Jesus went into nature. Jesus had some friends, close relationships. He invested in those close relationships. Number 3, Jesus acknowledged what he was going through. He said to them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. As a therapist, even as an elder or an ordinary church member, somebody says this to you, what do you think? But Jesus opened up and shared with his friends. This is the same Jesus giving sight to the blind. The lame was walking. The man Jesus who walked on water. Now he's telling this to 3 of the 12. Stay here and watch. Support me. I need you guys now. This is the most difficult time. I need you. So that number 3, Jesus acknowledged what he was going through. Number 4, he shared with the trusted people. You can't go through this world and not have somebody you can open up to. You need somebody. You need to have somebody in your life. And if you are here and you are alone, you don't have anybody to open up to, elder, we need to organize deliverance service for that person. Don't deceive yourself. I can handle it myself. I can deal with it myself. It is eating you and destroying you slowly. God of all, Jesus, the creator of the universe, needed human beings when he was in the form of humans on earth. He needed to open up to somebody. Listen to this. Even the founder of our church experienced her own depression and anxiety. The founder, Ellen White, He said, for years I've been afflicted with dropsy, edema, a disease of the heart, which has had a tendency to depress my spirit and destroy my faith and courage. She described having felt no desire to live. You see, that's like a suicidal thought, right? No desire to live, and being unable to muster enough faith to even pray for my what? My recovery. Ellen White, the great woman we all read about. And listen to what she said. Oh, why is it that such gloom rests upon everything? Why can I not rise above this depression of spirit? I have no health, and I am completely what? Depressed. Because of time, I need to wrap it up here, but let me tell you this. You see what she's saying here? And that is why in our home as a family, we need to make the home environment easy enough for family members, including children, to open up. She says, I concealed my troubles feeling from my family and friends, fearing that they could not understand me. This was a mistaken course. Had I opened my mind to my mother, she might have instructed, soothed, and encouraged me. So as a family, we need to look after each other's mental health and well-being. Ellen White went through a lot. At the early age of 9, somebody threw a rock and broke her nose. Because of that, she dropped out of school. Her twin sister and her friends were going to school every day. Oh, and Miss this said that, and we did that, and it was fun. And Ellen was home, not able to share in that joy or excitement. When she finally got married, she lost her 3-month-old baby. Henry and I think Herbert also. And then later on, her grown-up son also died. And later in life, her husband died. She was a woman full of sorrow. But the good news tonight is, if God can use Ellen White, in spite of all her troubles, to achieve all these magnificent things she's done, transforming our life to the point where today we have over 20 million members of this faith in the world. Imagine what God can use you to do. Imagine, don't let your depression and anxiety hold you back. God is able to accomplish greater things in your life. Just connect, reach out, and ask for help, and know that there is help there available to you. God bless all of you, and hopefully someday we'll complete this whole presentation.
Amen.
Amen. God bless you.
Bless you, Chaplain Greg. Thank you.
Amen. God bless you.
Amen.
Chaplain Greg, can I ask a quick question?
Please.
With issue of suicidal thoughts, it has become so rampant, and especially in Africa, where you don't have much facilities to curb such menace. In case you are on the spot and the person gives you clue or the hint, what should be your immediate reaction or solution towards that?
That's a very important question. That's a very excellent question there. Remain calm. The first step, remain calm. That's the first reaction. Remain calm. Don't say, what? To fear quoi? You want a whole elder? I mean, with all that you have a wife, you have this, you have cars, you have... Remain calm and connect. Show interest. Be very empathic. I am so sorry you're feeling this way, you know? And then, look, you can then suggest, in fact, before you get in all of that, ask direct questions. How long has this been going on? This must be really difficult for you to be feeling this way. I never knew you were going through this. I'm so sorry. But thank you for telling me. Number one, how long has this been going on? You know, so sometimes we use the word BEST, you know, as clinicians, observe the behavior or ask questions. So one is it, how long has this been going on? So for the past 6 months. Then ask, have you acted on your thoughts? That's in the way you are asking, have they attempted it before? because this will give you a clue how serious it is. Have you acted on your thought before? They'll say, oh no, well, if they say no, so tell me, what would make you want to do this? And ask them, what could help you not act on it? Some clients will say, well, I have my daughter there and I love her. Oh yeah. And let the person linger on that as well. Oh yes, that your beautiful daughter. I can see you love her. And I understand why this is one of those things that will hold you back and all of that. Let them state it. And then you come to, in BEST, you come to, okay, so you ask, have they acted on this before? What would act them before, do you have a plan? Because you need to know everything. And the more they talk about it, so we ask our client direct question, do you have a plan to act on this? If you said, do you have a plan? Have you acted on it? No. Do you plan? What will make you act on it? Do you plan to act on it? Well, yes. Do you have a plan? What is the plan? Well, some people will tell you everything. I just want to drink tablets, or I have a gun. I just want to do this. I want to hang myself. You need to find out whether they have a gun in the house. But don't go there and say, go and take the gun and bring it to me. As much as possible, you want to get them away from what? The source of the object. Find out whether they are alone. If they're alone, find out, is there somebody you know that can call to come and stay by you? So there are different stages. We have suicidal thought. It's just a thought. Then we have suicidal ideation. Okay, so you notice, is this a so we have risk, we have imminent risk and non-imminent risk. So I'm taking you too much, but what you need to do is ask, do you have a plan? How long has this been going on? Have you acted on this thought before? Do you intend to act on this now? Do you have a plan? How do you intend to act on it? Then ask about BEST, their feeling, okay? Their emotions, okay? Ask about their emotions. Also find out about the signs and the time as well, and their thoughts. The T there will be for their thought. I'm running through this. And then when that happens, let them know. At a certain point, you don't need the person's consent, especially when you think that it is imminent risk, where the person actually probably has a plan and has the tool to act on the plan. You need to call the ambulance. But where you notice that it may not be serious, it is just a thought they've been having and it's bothering them, and they are telling you, you let them know that, look, I think it would be good to talk to the GP, the doctor, or have you spoken to pastor about it? And that's why I always advocate that in our churches, we need to have our elders, our pastors need to be trained in how to communicate about someone, and also how to be able to fish out some of these things. So if you are home with them, stay there with them until help arrives. Don't leave. I said, sister, the person has told you that I have a plan. You said, sister, let us pray. After that, you said, okay, God, this brother has evil thought. Let it never happen in Jesus' name. Amen. So, brother, I pray for you. Have faith in God. His grace is sufficient for you. Then you go home. They know God is there. They know the angels are there. But their minds, they are going through a mental health stress. At that stage, nothing looks clear, hopeful. Remember, helplessness and what? Hopelessness. So, and then let help come. Don't play the therapist. Connect them with somebody you know can help. Unfortunately, there is ambulance services, even in some of African countries, ambulance services. Unfortunately, some of us will say, hold on for me, and they'll keep you waiting. But it is better to stay there until help arrives, and then the person can be attended to. I know I have over-answered your question, but I hope you answered.
Yeah, you've answered, and it's quite emotional because what you've taken us through now, the same thing, I'll not even say similar, same happened to me. My own uncle went through that. My sister called me because I was posted somewhere, I was not in my town, and He says, yeah, your uncle says, yeah, if she dies, then that's the end of it. And I said, really? He said, yeah. And he went to my house. My sister prepared something.
Yeah.
Then I said to them, they should just keep him there. I'm coming, I'm driving straight there. But when I got there, he wasn't there. They couldn't keep him. Then I look all around, called his number. Nothing happened. Then I left back to my post. In the night, they prepared the food, everything. Wait, where's your uncle? So and so. And when also I got back, took shower, about to eat something, then the call came. The bad has happened.
Oh my goodness.
He has done what he said he could do, and there was no way to reverse the situation. Such an loving uncle, he's gone. Yeah.
That is very, very traumatic. And I don't know whether you have yourself gotten some support for you, because it is a tendency for you to blame yourself. Why couldn't I get there early? If only I had done this. It can be very difficult, and I can tell, even when you were saying it, the emotions were heaving up and all that. Are you okay for us to talk a bit after here, maybe tomorrow or something? Yeah. And thank you for sharing. That's very courageous. These are real stuff. It's not so detached from people. Can I just ask, how long has it been since this happened?
It happened somewhere 2013, so 8 years now.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you don't deal with it, it may be long, but it could be lingering in the background, and that in itself, can also, be quite traumatic as well for you, because anytime the memory comes, you could tell that it is still lingering there and it hasn't been dealt with. Yeah, but I really appreciate the fact that you have shared with us. Yeah.
Thank you so much. God bless.
You're welcome. Any other?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, I also want to say, sometimes when the situation happens, we have to be there with the person, we have to encourage the person. For instance, yesterday, our last baby, my last sister, my mother called me and she said, now she doesn't stay home. When you talk to her, then she'll go out. Then I said, okay, I'll call her myself and I will talk to her. And through my investigations, she told me she's not happy in life. And when I was talking to her, she was crying. Then I told her, you have to be calm. She has to listen to me. I am always there for her. And I am trying my possible best to take good care of her. So she didn't think of that she's not feeling happy. And I told her, whatever she's having, she trusts me, Oda. And she said, yes, sister, I trust you. Then I said, then share your problems with me. If you have anything that is bothering your mind, I am always there with you. I can share, I can solve it for you, whatever you need. I am ready to support you. And then whilst I was talking, she was still crying. Then I asked her to give the phone to my mother. Then I told her, in this situation, now she needs love. She needs attention. When she does something and you said, whatever she do, you don't appreciate, you will give her negativities and you discourage her. It even kill her more and it will depress her more. So whatever she do, appreciate and encourage her. Not everything she does is negative or bad, but encourage her whatever she does.
That's so true.
This afternoon, I called her again and I tried to tell her positive things, and I asked her, do you have bank account? She said no. What do you need? She said, now I need phone. But when I asked, they said you don't have, you have to, whatever you have, go and do it. So she was thinking, if I'm asking and nobody's giving me, then I have to take a boy, and if the boy can sponsor me, then I said, no, you are too small to take a boy. But if whatever you need, if I'm there, I can provide for you. Any little that can support you. And then she said, okay, then I will trust you and hope in you. But sister, don't disappoint me. If you disappoint me, that to be the end of my life. So in this situation, he trusts me now. So I have to do whatever possible best to make sure she's happy, that she doesn't go wayward. So such situation, we have to love the person, we have to closer to them. That's my contribution.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for that excellent work done there. It's very important that she knows that you are there for her, and for that reason, she will not want to act on those thoughts. The only thing I need to add that be careful not to overpromise, because if you have so many people in your family, you end up running yourself thin as well. I'm not saying you did. What I also encourage here is as well is that if they need a form and they want to go to school and you can help, do. But the idea is that you also get them to a point where they can get help, where they can get to a point where they begin to take control of their life. So you don't make them dependent on you, because while you are at it, you should be careful that emotionally you don't get drained or drawn as well. It is easy for you to get run down emotionally. And then if then you become tired. And if it's not sustainable now, both of you will be struggling with it as well. But I think you did excellent. One thing that I forgot to tell you is that don't ask anybody who is having suicidal thought why. Why do you want to kill yourself? You have this, you have that, why? And if they give you the answer, what would you do? Would you provide it for them? After that, that may not even solve the problem, because sometimes suicidal thought, the reasons may not even be the real thing, especially when it's a mental health issue. So the money may temporarily help, but they need to begin to gradually learn things that they can do to take control of their mental health thought. Esther.
Yes, Greg, I have a question. It's like a mental and a physical problem. Like in childhood, one goes through a physical and a mental torture through the relatives. And then it's like a thought that maybe when I grow up, this will get out of me. But now it's like 20 years down the line, 25 years down the line, it is still there. And the problem is like the people, the person who used to torture you mentally and physically, even if you hear their voice, like your heartbeat goes up or it's just stop. Like, and their family members, there's like no way you can do away with them. They're there. So how can someone deal with this situation that it's become conducive or durable for the person who went through this?
That's a lot of childhood trauma right there. There's a lot of trauma right there. But it sounds to me that your statement, it sounds to me that there's a lot more there. And of course, we are in a public place, so you may not be able to share everything. It sounds to me that there were quite a bit of traumatic. But if you see somebody, a family member, and in your old age, you feel panicky and you feel triggered, it means that there's a lot more than going through a difficult time in childhood. It seems to me that the person may have suffered a whole lot more. Now, therapy helps. Talking to in the absence of that, talking to a trusted person who will listen and empathize with you and ask the right question and be supportive also helps, because we need to, what we call cognitive restructuring in therapy, to structure your thought. Because what is happening is the thought you're giving, and the interpretation you're still giving to that situation, that is somewhat enamoring that old event there that is having a lot of impact on you today. So what we need to do is to deactivate that negative thought that is still empowering that event that took place 20-something years ago. And that will happen in therapy. But just talking about it with somebody, a trusted person who will not hurt you, will help you to feel a bit of relief. And of course, as Christians, take it to the Lord in prayer as well.
Thank you.
But you see, sometimes when there's abuse in the family, now I'm not saying what you're saying is abuse, but if there's an abusive person in Ireland, for example, there's what we call historical abuse. If you're abused by somebody 20 years ago, you still can report and that person will be taken, because the thing is that abusive person may, after you are gone, they will take it to somebody else. Only God knows how many more people may have suffered that. And so it gets to a time where when the person develops enough confidence with support, there are instances where it is worth confronting that person with the support of others around you. But we live in an environment where people say, oh, you bring shame to the family, and why did you do that? And even sometimes a 10-year-old kid is blamed for the misbehavior of an adult. And so people don't talk about it. It is likely that some family members don't know what happened to you. I mean, to the person you're talking about. They may not know. But eventually, with the proper therapy, when you get to a place of health, that needs to be confronted.
Thank you.
Info.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask. I also have a question. With the question that Esther just asked, it just brought my memories of someone that, and I wanted to ask, what if the person already has this anxiety in them that is so strong now, like Esther said, this is something that happened like maybe 20 years, 30 years or 20 years ago or something. But the person has this strong anxiety that is beginning to show up now, or probably showed up before, that is more or less like a heart, I don't know, it's not a heart attack, but it's so strong. And it's the
panic.
Anxiety, panic. And it's so much now that the person can't drive because that fear is there. You want to drive and it's like, no, I can't drive. And what do you do at this point?
So there is something we call in cognitive behavioral therapy as catastrophic misinterpretation. Now that sounds like a big word, but it's simply this. As I said earlier on, when you see, when it gets to the panic here is what is happening simply is that you are seeing the threat as something you cannot deal with. The threat is so big that you cannot deal with, but the threat goes so big that what happens is that the brain now begins to interpret that as, this is dangerous, I cannot deal with it, this is going to kill me, or I'm going to have a heart attack, or I'm going to disgrace myself, I'm going to be exposed, or this person is going to do the same thing they did to me again if it was a traumatic past. So when it happens like that, the brain chemicals get secreted. So the anxiety is triggered. And now your whole body now responds to it. And you feel like your chest is crashing. It's as if you're having a heart attack. It takes up to almost a maximum of 15 minutes. It doesn't last forever. But when you are in a car and you are going and it keeps happening, that's even more dangerous. In these instances, it's the same process as well. Talk to your doctor. They might examine you and refer you to a therapist to help you deal with it. The whole thing is for us to rewire, to restructure. So it might be painful, but we'll have to take you back to whatever happened in the childhood. And then there will be some very psychological questions that will ask you. So that will be like to turn off. It's like the engine has been turning on and the heat has been coming. So we take you back to that childhood and then you turn it off gradually. How do I respond to this? How do I respond to that? But even talking about it to somebody and somebody listening empathically can help to deal with it. Not completely, but because if the person is experiencing panic at this stage, what has happened is that coping strategy they adopted has overgrown and it's not working for them anymore. So therapy will help. Talk to your GP, they might refer you to somebody, and then therapy will help you to reduce the effect. It may not go, but now you have control over it, and you'll be able to take control of your life.
Thank you very much. Brother Paul?
Okay, Chaplain, I want to help my sister, Emira, a bit, based on my own personal experience. you should not lose guide of this, your sister. There should be somebody around her. This is more private. I hope I'm clear. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, this is more private, but because I did and he couldn't save the life of my uncle, I have to say it. Even I went to the extent of buying him a truck, brand new truck, very nice, expensive. I built my own new house. I said, then uncle, go and stay there. But it was not enough to save him.
Exactly.
From doing whatever he purposed in his heart to do. Or because I was not around, he respected me so much, he loved me so much, and he shares everything with me. But unfortunately, I was not there. And by the time I said, keep him, I'm coming, but because he knew certainly once I come, I'll be able to address that situation, he could not stay. He sneaked. Even my sister said they never knew when he left the house because they're self-contained, but nobody knew when he was leaving. So please, Emiria, keep eyes on this, your sister. Let somebody be there with her anytime because this phone promise and everything cannot avert the situation. Please, somebody has to be around here. Thank you.
And so importantly, as I said, and I'm happy that you have re-emphasized this, you may be giving things, but that may not be the one that will be the solution. Some of these may be purely mental health stress issues, and they have, so you give them something, yeah, temporarily, but then connect them with a professional, maybe a doctor, even a nurse who understand their job, will point her to the right place so that you yourself will not be here and be worried all the time because you can. So when the phone rings, when you see her WhatsApp, when something like that, when you don't hear from her, when you call and she doesn't answer, you yourself, your heart will start going boom, 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 boom. But once you know that, thankfully, I have handed her or I've signposted her to the right source of help, it gives you also a peace of mind. And you don't want her to become dependent on you as well. And like my dear brother Paul has said, sometimes we might think that money and material thing could fix it. It doesn't always, because after a few days, it becomes so familiarized, and then the emptiness is still there, and they're looking for the next thing to fill it.
Thank you so much, Justin Greg. I think I'm not sure we have any other question. We are way past time, but I am blessed, and I know that a lot of us also have also been blessed this evening. So we're so grateful to the presentation, and we are thankful to God that you're able to come join us this evening and share out of the blessings that God has also bestowed upon you. Thank you. And to end our session, I would please like to first ask if we have any announcements for the Sabbath service tomorrow. Okay, I'm the secretary. There is service tomorrow, and let's remember tomorrow is 13th Sabbath, and so worship tomorrow begins at 10:30 for Sabbath school, and we hope to that's 9:30 in Ireland, and we hope to begin divine service at the latest at 12 in Germany, and that will be 11 a.m. in Ireland. And we are all welcome to join us tomorrow for worship, our visiting friends. I can see Island is here with us. You're welcome, Island. Mabel is also here with us. You're welcome. I hope you're able to join us tomorrow. Maybe you leave Bremen and join us tomorrow, hopefully. And yeah, I guess these are the two friends that we have today. And I know someone with iPhone, with the device, with the name iPhone. I'm not so sure who that is. Usually it's always Chiamaka that has iPhone, but I don't know if this is her. But you're of all our friends that are here today, Island, Mabel, and the one who maybe you have still with the title iPhone, you're welcome. And we pray that God will continue to bless every one of us, keep us safe, and grant us perfect health. To end the session, I would now like to please invite Elder Henemy to lead us in a closing prayer, if we don't have any other announcement question. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let us have a word of prayer. Father Divine, we thank you for this beautiful moment that you have shared together. You have ushered a lot of blessing upon us. More especially, you have used your servant to reach out to us. How important it is to be able to identify all this sort of mental health. It is great and it's very fascinating. We have discovered and we have explored new things. And as individuals and corporately, I think this lesson will lead us and guide us at all times. And for this reason, we also pray that you continue to expand the wisdom of your servant. May his ministry continue to be grounded on you. And as we have been called, as those who have been elected, Lord, may we continue to exercise faith in you. And on this faithful, blessed Sabbath begin, Lord, may you stretch forth thy mighty hands and bless each and every soul in our community, our friends and well-wishers. And to all pastors and elders who have contributed immensely to support this community. And it is our prayer that while we are about to resume our temple worship, may you, Lord, let us exercise faith so that we may grow to thy glory. May this Sabbath be a blessing upon each and every one of us. We thank you for hearing our prayer in the mighty name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you so much, Dr. Greg. God bless you.
Thank you, Heather, for that beautiful prayer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you. God bless you.
Pastor Greg,
Yes.
Elder Greg, Chaplain Greg,
Oh, simply,
he said something that really, amazed me.
yeah.
That we often are coupled with titles, and
Yes.
titles can really scare people.
Yeah. It's true. No.
And